and there is that angle of spirituality, because that is extremely important, especially in these times. And I have a very, very strong spiritual anchorage and background. So far, so good. I'm a native of Guyana in South America, and that's an oil producing country. It's in the Amazon basin, and it has a dual identity of being Caribbean as well as South American. And presently I've released a 5-book series, mini-series. I call it a political toolkit for individuals, because there's so much that's going on, and individuals do not recognize that their political leaders are overwhelmed. And our Constitution was written so that the people have the power, and the people have to step to the forefront. Of course, God in front and the people behind. And it is until that time that we're going to see the change that is deserved in this country. That's my strong belief.
Good,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to read your book. And so you'll bring the book in when you make your presentation. So we are very honored to have our honor from our Wayne County Board of School Education, Patricia Burden. And please, Your Honor, give us a little introduction, and then we'll bring you back again for a full presentation.
Well, good evening, everyone. I was born and raised in Goldsboro, North Carolina. I'm a proud graduate of Dillard High School, which is now a middle school. My principal was Mr. John Henry Wooten, who was married to Mrs. Ernestine Wooten, and I see her here on the line. I graduated with the class of 1965, so I think that that's the best class that ever came out of Dillard High School. I attended East Carolina University, receiving a BS degree in education with a concentration in mathematics. And then I started teaching in Philadelphia, went to California, where I earned my master's degree in administration management systems from Chapman University in Orange, California. I returned home some 30 years ago because I'm the only child to my mother, and she was not doing well at the time, needed some surgery. So I came back home, and my dream was always to return to Goldsboro and to work in the school system here. So I had the opportunity to finish my 42 years of experience in education in Wayne County Public School System.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
And
Good
we're
job.
looking forward to hearing about what's going on with the schools and COVID and everything that we need to know. We have a lot of mothers in this group, so when we air this on Facebook, please comment and tell us how you're doing. So Ashley's going to do a demo. This is very exciting for this group. We're actually going to have a food demonstration. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. I'll be talking more about myself as part of the demonstration, but my name is Ashley Ivy. I am from Northern Virginia originally, but now I live in California, Maryland. So some people have never heard of California. Naturally, it's right next to Hollywood and Pasadena, Maryland.
Yeah.
So
I know the area.
You know the area near Solomon's Island? Exactly. So I live in this area with my 2 beautiful babies. My son, Kevin, is 3. My daughter, Angela, is 4, almost 5. They are my laughter, my heartbeat, my everything. So I'm just glad to be here. The babysitter just put him to bed, so I'm good to go.
Very good.
So I'm grateful to be here.
So what recipe or what are you going to demonstrate to us a little later?
Oh, I'm going to show you a vinaigrette, specifically how to make your own salad dressing.
Awesome.
So I love making my own everything. So and it's so easy, it's delicious, it's quick. And I always say the healthiest thing to eat is a thing that you make, right? Because you know what you put in it and you know you washed your hands.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Good job.
All right. So the Wootons, why don't you introduce us?
Just go around and let them come back to when Miss Wooten's there.
Okay, we're gonna wait for
I'll
your
tell you what,
mom.
wait for your mother to come back and then we'll.
So Reverend Renee Jones, can we see you?
Yes, hello,
Hello.
everyone. I am Renee Holloway Jones. I am from Goldsboro, North Carolina, was born and raised there. I'm now in the neighboring county of Johnson County. I am currently publishing a book on marriage. My husband and I own a mental health agency in Johnson County, but we serve all of the East Coast. And I have two sons. One's in the military. He's just got promoted last week to sergeant. He's in Hawaii, he and his wife. And my baby son is the owner of an insurance agency. So we're a busy family and just excited to be a part of this call on tonight.
Awesome.
Glad to have you.
Glad to have you. So Jatasha Harris, tell us about yourself. And she's a mommy, so I'm excited about that. Tell us all about what you do.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so yeah.
Can we see you?
My name is Jatasha Harris.
Did you put video on?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got a call at the same time. So my name is Jatasha Harris. I reside here in the Raleigh-Durham area with my husband and our three little ones. We have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 5-year-old. And very active parent, doing gymnastics and karate and basketball with them. So that's why you don't see me, because I'm pulling into my driveway as we because I just picked up one from gymnastics. So I will be on the camera and I'll be able to do the full presentation in about 3 minutes. I'll be ready to go. But that's the life of the mommy juggler. And I can't wait to share with everyone what's going on. I'm excited to actually be here. I love that this is a faith-based group because that's
Awesome. I think we lost her. Now you all can write in the chat your websites, if you're selling any books, coaching services. This is all about empowering your business. And also when we do the broadcast on Facebook, Instagram, and you happen to see the post, please tag yourself so that the videos appear on your networks as well. We also have Donna Ivy on the call. Donna, can we see you? She's going to do a tough topic about divorce during COVID. Donna? Okay, we'll bring her back later. All right, so over to our keynote. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, I do. One thing has been pressing my mind, and I wanted to take a moment during this day. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate you being here, but I'm just reflecting, and I'd encourage you to reflect too. Today happens to be my grandfather's birthday. Now, my grandfather, amazing man. I didn't know him really well, but I knew him pretty good. Now, today he would have been 134. He was born in 1889, and I recognized him because of his power. And I need you to understand that we rest on the shoulders of some pretty amazing people who've come before us and done great things. In 1945, he bought a farm. He was almost 60 when he bought it, and he operated, ran, and developed the farm. It was such a strong spirit, and I'm so happy that I knew him and I reflected on him, and he was just a powerful guy. And I want, and part of the power that I need to encourage you with is also the power of our ancestors, our heritage, people before us, and people that we knew that encourage and bring us along to the place that we can and should be. And so you rest on the shoulders of some powerful and great people. And I reflect on that. I just want to take the opportunity to share that with you. And I remember reflecting. If there's anybody in your history that was born on that day, this day, that way, just feel free to share that with us, because we have to remember. We have to remember. And you are amazing people. I can see the amazingness in your face. I can see the cheeriness in your faces. And, and it's amazing. I just want to encourage you It's gonna be a great year. Green lights all the way. Green lights all the way.
Yes.
So good. I just want to take a minute to stop and say that with you.
All right.
So okay.
So over to Colonel Donna Fore. She has fought in 4 wars. And I don't know, as a woman, I admire her for being a colonel, because it's so difficult in corporate or any job for a woman to make it. And she's made it, and she's a testimony. She's also survived the Pentagon during 9/11, and she's here with us to tell us her story. And it's a remarkable story. We do a lot with veterans in this group. Donna's story is second to none, fighting 4 wars, doing all this great service for the country. And not only that, when you think about how you've retired, as a veteran, most veterans would be, now I'm just sitting at home and I don't, she takes the time to do community work, get involved with people. She puts a lot of time in these presentations. And we as a group really, really value her as a speaker and the knowledge that she imparts to us every month. And she's with us on the 1st and the 3rd of every month on a Monday at 7 p.m. And we're very, very grateful to have her. And here she is. I'm going to share her slides. And Donna, while I'm sharing the slides, you can start telling us about you.
Well, hello, everyone. It's good to see you. We've got some new faces here tonight. That's very exciting. Claire always embarrasses me with my with describing my resume, but I did retire from the Air Force after 30 years, and my last assignment was the Pentagon, and I was there on 9/11. So I lost 9 dear people in that building, and so I take the day very seriously. And it's kind of a scar that you carry around when you lose people in such a catastrophic way. But I did get stationed for the Goldsboro crowd. I was stationed at Seymour Johnson back in the late 80s and enjoyed my time there. I'd lived in Raleigh and commuted over to Goldsboro for my duty. I also had spent some time at Pope Air Force Base. So I had a lot of time in North Carolina. And I met my late husband in Smithfield. He was from Smithfield, North Carolina. So I have a lot of ties to the area, and I do love the state of North Carolina. I think I may move there one day, but I'm right now in Virginia. That's where my husband was from. My late husband was from there. So it's great to see everybody. Last month, we embarked on a new approach to 2022. We were going to set some goals. Now, these are primarily oriented around both personal and professional goals. For anyone who doesn't own a business in the group, don't worry. This is still a good way to look at planning goals, even just for yourself. It doesn't have to be for your business or for an organization. But if you are involved in an organization, or you do own a business or hope to own a business, this will apply to that as well. I'm going to go ahead and have Claire advance the slide one more time. This is kind of a recap of what we had last month, but you all weren't here. So you're hearing it for the first time, but that's okay. And we're going to focus a little bit tonight on something you may have heard of. And it's right here. Have anybody ever heard of a SWOT analysis? Say yes.
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 Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So SWOT analysis is a great way to break down kind of what's affecting you or benefiting you when you're trying to put together your goals or your plans for a new year, right? And as it explains here, the S is for strengths, the W is for weaknesses, the O is for opportunities, and the T is for threats. Now you may be thinking, well, this is all oriented around companies, but it's really not, because even if you're looking to improve your life in some way, say you're frustrated about your finances or frustrated about your job or relationships or anything like that, you can do this same level of SWOT analysis on your life and determine where you need to put more emphasis and what things are affecting your progress and what things may be great opportunities that you're just not embarking upon. So don't think of this as only a business plan. It can be a personal plan as well. And we talk about strengths. Okay, you can go to the next slide, Claire. One of the things you need to think about is, what am I good at? I mean, you think about what am I good at? It can be along business lines too. say one of your goals this year is to change jobs or take on a new career, right? This is just another way of doing the same exact thing where we're looking at. It's just kind of another geographical look at what a SWOT might look like. And look at how this one's been aligned. On the side here, it says positive, and on the bottom, external. See how they've reoriented it to where the positive things are on the right-hand side and the external or negative things are on the right-hand side. And some of what you have to grapple with are things that are outside of your control. There are some things that are internal to you that are underneath your control to influence. That can be your strengths and your weaknesses, right? You know what those are, and you know what those good things are, you know what those bad things are, right? So it's important that you be honest with yourself and say, hey, there's just some things that either from a business perspective, I'm really poor at, or from a personal perspective, I'm not that great at, right? So recognize you have strengths and recognize you have weaknesses. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You just have to write down, hey, these are some things that I'm not really great at, but I know I need to get better at, right? But all of us have a lot of strengths too. So part of this is to identify what you're already good at and then what you need to work on, right? And on the bottom are the things that are kind of external to you. There are opportunities for you to actually get better, or for your company to get better, or the book you're writing to get done, or whatever these goals are that relate to you personally, right? And then there's threats, right? So a threat from a business perspective, of course, is competition. If you're a business owner and there's another company in town that does the exact same thing you do, then you know, hey, I have to up my game in order to differentiate myself from that other company, because we essentially are in the same line of business, right? Well, if you're trying to put together a personal plan, right, the threats to your personal plan may be things that are also outside of your control, right? They may be family matters or financial crises, or something that just kind of comes in and affects you that you weren't prepared for, but you need it to be, right? It becomes a threat to your personal progress, because this threat has now, either you knew about it and you didn't address it, or it just came out of left field. But by having a plan, a personal plan, you can kind of address that, right, by preparing for it. And I hope this is all making sense. But if you want to break this down from a personal perspective, it's the same situation. You're trying to address things that could inhibit your progress, whether you're a business owner or you're just trying to improve yourself personally or improve your family. I've known families that actually did a SWOT analysis because there were stresses and strains on the family. And they said, hey, maybe we need to figure out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what opportunities we have to grow as a family, and then what things threaten us as a family. You know, maybe it's outside factors that we're allowing to drag us away from being together. You know, maybe we're not going to church enough. Maybe we're not doing enough of this or doing that, right? So this is helping to kind of break those things down in a logical way and address them. Next slide. Another thing that can be both an opportunity and a threat. So one of the things you're going to find when you do a SWOT analysis, right, is that some things will sound eerily the same. So an opportunity could be a threat to you. For example, say you're a business owner and an opportunity for you is to expand your business and hire employees. And then you realize, well, wow, I've never done that. I'm a little scared to hire employees and have people work for me, but I know that the only way to grow my business is to take on more work, but I'm only one person, right? Well, that can be a threat to you at the same time. So it's important to recognize that when you step out to take advantage of an opportunity, it may also become a threat. So just be cognizant of that and don't be afraid of it per se, but just recognize that some opportunities could also be a threat because they're going to require you to step out and do something, take an action, and it may be an action you haven't anticipated, or you're trying to prepare for it, but you're not sure how. It's also important that you actually do this in an organized fashion. Don't do it in your head. Don't try and wing it. Actually take out a piece of paper, handwrite it initially, and then put it on a computer. And I'm sure most people are familiar with different kinds of software where you can create a slide or you can create a graphic of some kind. If you don't, then get somebody to help you. But if you can graphically represent this so that you can look back on it, because the hope is that once you've identified your strengths, you know what you're good at. Now you've identified your weaknesses. You know you've got some areas to work on. You've identified a few things that you're not doing yet, that you know are opportunities for you to get better. either from a business perspective or personal, right? And then you know that there's a few things that can threaten your success, and you recognize them and you try and deal with them by planning for them. You really have to have this organized in some kind of a professional fashion. So if you're not sure you can graphically represent yourself, then get a friend to help you, right? Someone who's very familiar with software and can create just what we see here. This is another way to represent a SWOT analysis. I'm trying to show you that, you know, everybody's SWOT, people have done their own, so it makes sense to them. And I'm just going to go through this SWOT very quickly to show you what you could put on yours. Or on the left hand side where it says strengths, right? And it's got the muscle being built up, right? So this is something that this person's good at. So this could be your professional qualifications, right? If you're someone that's good at something, here's a perfect one to show you how someone put together it better. So this is a person that was doing some kind of online work, okay, that required, and they were in a foreign country, but they were trying to learn English so they could expand their business. So they were working in the cyber realm, but they were only doing it within their own language. Okay, so just set that as a baseline. So on the upper left-hand corner, they say they're well educated, they got a master's degree, they're proficient in English, they're patient. They're all good strengths, right, that this person had. On the upper right-hand side, they identified themselves that they're not very experienced in this field. And the field they're in is mostly has to do with doing, you know, folks that are very good at understanding how to do marketing, say from a cyber perspective, how to do outreach and marketing and communications. That's the kind of career field this person was working in, right? And they found that they really didn't have as much experience as they thought. They kind of had just delved into it because it was interesting to them, but they didn't really necessarily have credentials, right? And they've also found that it was easy to get distracted as they were going through their work every day. They would procrastinate, they would disorganize, and they weren't very creative with how they were doing their approach to their work. So they recognized that, hey, I've got a lot of strengths, but sometimes I get really distracted while I'm working and I need to stay on task. At the bottom left-hand corner are the opportunities that this person wanted to explore. So they wanted to do more work within the English speaking realm, right? Programs like TED, okay? They wanted to have some chances to communicate with native speakers, right? And they wanted to do some more English learning. So this is someone that had built a business in a foreign language and wanted to reach out to an English audience, right? So now they've got to really take a big leap and go into a whole totally different realm of conducting their business, right? And here on the bottom right-hand corner are threats, right? And since they're part of their work involves building websites, web pages for people to do this marketing and outreach, they realize, hey, there's a lot of people with more experience and credentials than I do on how to do that, right? So that's a threat to me. Other people may go to these other companies or other individuals because they've got more credentials, right? And I'm not a good team leader. They recognize that they don't work well with others. They kind of like to do their own. And they're used to working for a small company, which doesn't offer any launching this business in the way they want to. They want to reach out to a broader audience, but they realize, hey, I'm not fully credentialed. There are a lot of other companies that do it better than me. I'm not good at working with a team, and I don't have a lot of professional training in this area. So it isn't to say that they're not going to take that opportunity and do that leap of faith and do that outreach to that English audience, but they got to recognize the fact that there are some things that are going to impede me or, you know, derail me at times. I have to prepare a plan that takes care of that. Does that make sense? So next slide. So you can apply this personally and professionally. That's why I wanted you to see these various slides so you can get a sense of, hey, if I'm not a business owner, I don't belong to a big, you know, organization, say, because I've known nonprofits that did SWOT analysis. Now, the reason why a nonprofit might do it, say it's something like the American Red Cross or Salvation Army, because even they realize that they have jobs better and that there are other organizations that do a similar thing to what they do, right? So for the organization, if we're going to maximize our services to people, then we have to do this kind of analysis from time to time to realize hey, what are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What are we missing? Beyond our comfort zone and do new kinds of services to clients that we're not doing right now. So don't think of this as only business or only personal. It could be even a nonprofit might benefit from doing this kind of a SWOT analysis. So again, this was part of our goal seeking for 2022. We can do a follow-up next week, or I can do one-on-one with anybody that wants to do a goal setting review of what we already covered. But the main thing is, if you're going to set goals, be honest with your limitations, but don't let them hold you back, right? Because the purpose of what this group was intended for, and I think what Elton and Claire have done so well, is we inspire each other. We come together a couple of times a month to lift each other up, to know that it's hard to do what we do. It's hard to run a business. It's hard to run a family, all right? I mean, families are tough, guys, aren't they? And then it's hard to run organizations, right? So if you're doing any or all of those things, God bless you, because that's a tough road to hoe. So come here with your questions, come here with your burdens, come here with your successes, and we'll sort it out for you, because we're here to empower you, to help you find ways to get things done better, okay? So that at the end of the day, when we've left this grouping, right, you feel like, hey, I learned something new from Mrs. Brewington and Elton that I can now apply to my life, to my organization, to my company, to make it a better, day tomorrow, because they gave me a tool that I didn't have before, or they gave me some encouragement. When Elton talks about those green lights all the way, every time he says it, I get so inspired. I just want to run outside and shout to the hills, oh, I can do this, right? And that sounds silly, but that's what we're here to do. If you're having a tough day, I tell you, I come to this group and I leave and I'm feeling like $1 million, right? So keep coming, because you'll pick up something every time you come that you can take away with and, make yourself a better day tomorrow. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to talk about the SWOT analysis. I'm happy to review it one-on-one with any of you. And thank you for your time. God bless.
Very good. Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate your insights. Also, I want to let you know, keep in mind, we're headed toward around the first event of February. We're going to do vision boards, and we're going to help and coordinate for you, with you, a direction to do vision board. Now, we did one last year, but right after the vision board, COVID came, and all of a sudden that was undermined, but that's okay. We're going to do another vision board, because if you plan well, then you succeed and you excel in that regard. And so I just want to make sure that you're aware of it, and then we put you out front to get a coordination of that. And we want to be an inspiration, as Donna said. We want to get you on board with where you're going. Now, we're all going someplace. We're all going someplace. And part of my perspective with, of course, green lights, the most I've hit, I think I've hit 21 lights so far, 21 straight green lights, and I'm conscious of that, but I need you to be conscious of it too, and I'm excited about where you're going, and I'm excited about I want you to get your expectations in order, your anticipations in order, and see, we work every day, you work hard with focus and clarity of what you're trying to get done. But then when you set a roadmap or some kind of map for your expectations in order, then you have nothing but ground to cover, nothing but ground to cover. And so with that, just be encouraged and inspired. So we're gonna move right along. We've got this lady, I'm inspired by her. She, I didn't know she spent some time in Orange County, California though. But so she's a member of our school board. And, I know what that's like, trying to get people on the same path. It's difficult to get people to order a pizza together. But if you can get people focused on one intent and a direction that's true and honest, and getting people to commitment in their focus. And also when when you commit to a particular value on a board, I had a friend of mine, she used to host all these dinner parties, and she had a way of telling people, now, okay, I see where you brought soda to the party, You brought rights to the party. She used to say, bring some meat. Bring some meat, something we all can eat. So she would say that, and I'm encouraged. So I want to thank and invite, of course, board member Ms.
Pat Burden.
Pat Burden on board. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Pat, for being here. We encourage you. Let's go.
I'm going to stop the video and start it again. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you're in our Facebook group for Women Business Empowerment, we're doing our event in March, and please subscribe, brightsideGlobalTrade.org, so that we can get you our new magazine in your inbox.
Yeah.
So please make sure you subscribe, because we have a lot of giveaways and good things coming up.